The Masked Singer is back with Group B. 6 new performers tonight. We had the crocodile, the baby alien, the seahorse, whatchamacallit, the serpent, and Gremlin. And one of them, if you haven't heard by now, even took their mask off before the voting could even commence. So, a very interesting episode tonight of The Masked Singer. Let's get it started. Hey guys, welcome to the show. My name is Dan. This is Dan Reviews It, and tonight we're talking about the second episode of the season for The Masked Singer. I'm going to reveal my guesses. I'm going to reveal the clues that I got out of the clue packages, and we'll see where we line up. But first, before we get into that, I want to thank you guys for really checking out my video last week. I've been on YouTube for a few years now, and sometimes a video will just kind of spark out there and really pick up steam. Most of my videos get like 25, 30 views, maybe 40 or 50. But as of right now, my video from last week for episode 1 of the season is over 2,000 views. I've picked up 25 subscribers since last week, which I've never gotten that many in a week before. In fact, I was very happy because I just hit 500 subscribers a few weeks ago, and I've been on the channel for 6 years, maybe 7 years. So it was great to see. So I thank you guys for seeking the video out, and it looked like a lot of you actually watched it all the way through to the end. So I love seeing that too. So thank you, thank you. If you did enjoy last week's video, if you're here now, please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, I would love to have you aboard. Like the video, that helps me too. And I always love hearing from you guys in the comments, especially on my Masked Singer videos, more than any of the other videos I do, because I really, really like hearing your guys' opinions on what you think the clues meant and who you think is behind the masks. So please keep those coming. I've had over 100 comments on my last video, and I try to respond to everyone. So if I missed you, I do apologize, but it's great to have you aboard. So please comment for this video as well. Would love to have you. So with that in mind, before we get on to the second episode of the season, just a quick little recap of the first season and where I am after reading your comments, talking to some people on the telephone and over text that are in my friend group about some of these things. So I am still really sure about the son being Leanne Rimes. Demi Lovato, I think, is sort of an outlier. Could be her. I sort of forgot. One of you pointed out she sings the pop version of Let It Go in Frozen. So, all right, there was obviously a Let It Go clue. But I still think it's Leanne Rimes. Popcorn, I still think, is Taylor Dayne. I had some interesting suggestions from the comments. Bette Midler is one that is really kind of sticking with me. I still don't think it's her. I'm still pretty confident it's Taylor Dayne. I'm going to stay there. But Bette Midler was interesting. The two that I really am still torn on were the two that I was a bit unconfident about last week, too. The giraffe, my guess for that is Fred Durst. And I'm going to stick with that until we see him sing again. But of the few interesting comments I got about the giraffe, maybe somebody from Hamilton based on the kind of attire that the giraffe is wearing. I don't think that that's true, and you'll maybe find out a little bit later why, because I think there may be a Hamilton person in tonight's show from Group B. But the one that really stuck out to me as very interesting was Brian Austin Green from 90210. There were definitely a few clues there that could lead one in that direction. So I don't know. He had a rap album in the mid-90s, for example. There was a clue that could have been construed about like a Megan Fox thing. I'm sticking with Fred Durst, but Brian Austin Green was definitely interesting. The Snow Owls, again, I'm going to stick with my gut and say Julianne and Derek Hoff, but this is the one that you guys really have me screwed up on. It could very easily be Clint Black and Lisa Hartman Black. I think you guys in the comments have put a lot of really good clues together to focus on that. But here's one nobody actually said in the comments, but one of my friends told me as him and his wife were talking about these clues. possibly Chip and Joanna Gaines from, I think it's Fixer Upper was the name of the show that they did, or maybe they still do it. And I don't know really much about them, but the whole Oh Brother thing in the clue package, that is something that apparently Joanna says a lot on the show. Magnolia was one of the streets that we saw in the clue package. Their production company is called Magnolia. So if it's not the Hoffs, I don't know. It could be Chip and Joanna Gaines. That's certainly an interesting guess. So we'll see how those shake out. But I've got my handy notebook, so let's talk about tonight's Masked Singer. I think we're going to start with the Gremlin, because even though he was last to sing, he took his mask off before they even did a vote. He was like, this suit is too hot. I'm getting out of here. And Nick was like, no, what are you doing? We haven't done the vote. And he said, forget this. I'm doing it. So I think we're just going to start there, because it was very odd. We've never seen anything like that in now 4 seasons of The Masked Singer. A person just said they were kind of sick of the costume, took it off. And first of all, I feel bad for the costume designers, because they have designed all these great costumes. They won an Emmy for costume design. Painstaking process, and for a person to just say, I can't do this anymore, goodbye. Now, personally, I think he would have been voted out anyway, because I did not think he was a good singer. But let's talk about the Gremlin for just a second before we move into my guesses for the 5 remaining contestants. So, in the preview, we heard him say that he thrives when the temperature is 66.5 degrees. That is the Arctic Circle. And to be honest, I still can't figure out an Arctic Circle clue with this person. But the package tonight, the clue theme was a dating service video. And his dating service number was 6219. And he's talked about a checkered history. He's been known to be a bit combative. We see him sort of punching out one of the security guards for Masked Singer. It was all like in cartoon form, He said he loves to cook. He loves animals. And that's really all we got from him. This was a very bare bones clue package. And he sang the song Stand By Me, which he got very emotional. So far, the interview portion that Nick Cannon does between the song and the voting, we're not really getting any clues. He's usually just asking the person like why they chose that costume, or how they feel about the costume, or how they feel about the performance, or whatever. It's nothing ever earth-shattering. But here, this dude got very emotional and was saying that, his best friend sang this song and he misses him, all the time. And to me, I was like, all right, well, Ben E. King passed away so long ago. Is that who he's talking about? But then Nick Cannon said something about Willie. So no, it's this guy, Willie, I think it's Willie Dixon. Now, Willie Nelson has done a song or a version of this as well, but that's not who he was talking about. He was talking about this other dude, and he got real emotional. And so some of the guesses, as the Gremlin was still standing there, we heard Jerry Lee Lewis from Robin Thicke, which was an okay guess. Jenny thought it might be Mickey Rourke, because there was like a boxing / wrestling sort of moment in the clue package as well. He has a famous boxing career, before he was an actor, or maybe it was while he was an actor. And then, of course, he did the movie The Wrestler, so a couple of clues there. And then Ken thought it was an actual wrestler and was going Steve Austin on it. But this person has a much, much older voice than Steve Austin. It's very worn, very gravelly voice. And so this one I wasn't quite sure of. I was thinking maybe it was Tom Waits, going solely on the voice, really. And Tom Waits has done, a couple of movies here or there, but, I'm not a big Tom Waits fan, but I know he has a very gravelly voice. It's a pretty distinctive voice, too, and the voice didn't quite match up for me. Once Jenny said Mickey Rourke, I was like, oh yeah, no, this is definitely Mickey Rourke. I wouldn't have gotten there without Jenny's help, I don't think, but once she said that made complete sense to me, and it was indeed Mickey Rourke. He didn't want to wait for the vote. He just, as he's standing there, said, I'm too hot in this costume, I'm taking it off. Robin was the only one who was like, go for it. Everybody else was like, no, don't do it. Like, we gotta have a proper vote here. That's not how the show works. Robin was like, yeah, go for it. I always like Robin. He's my favorite on the show. But it was indeed Mickey Rourke. So I'm going to count that. Thanks to Jenny's help, I'm going to count that as a victory for me. So I'm now 2 for 2 this season so far. But it gets very tricky with these remaining people because I'll tell you what, there's only one that I'm even like mildly sure on. Maybe two that I'm mildly sure on. The others are just complete wild guesses. Last week I was very confident. This week, Group B, man, this is reminding me a lot of some of the first weeks of last season when I just had no clue. So let's get into this. First up was the crocodile. In the preview, we heard him say a special set of keys reversed his game forever. And then tonight we learned that it was a natural as a crocodile because he's happiest in water. It was like a lagoon theme for the clue package. He said he grew up in Hollywood surrounded by instability and forced to develop a thick skin. There was an Italian flag on the table alongside pineapple and fish. There was a rainbow streak behind him in the sky. There was a hotel with red arrows and like some big fountains, which I think was sort of a Vegas connotation. And the song he sang was Bon Jovi's "It's My Life." So the panel was all over the place on this one. Ken thought it was John Hamm, which I guess a couple of the clues maybe match up with that. He was stretching a little bit though with the pineapple, saying that pineapple and ham go good on a pizza. So I think we sort of can rule that out right away because I agree with what the other panelists were saying. Nicole Scherzinger was saying that she really thinks it is a boy bander. Wasn't sure, thinking maybe in the Nick Lachey kind of camp from 98 Degrees, and that would certainly make sense. I mean, he's had to develop a thick skin with some cracks about him and Jessica Simpson back in the day and things like that. And Robin went even further with the boy band clue and thought maybe it was Donnie Wahlberg, Jenny McCarthy's husband. They keep talking about him every season. Maybe not the first season, but certainly the last couple of seasons. Every time somebody's like, I think this is Donnie Wahlberg. And even Jenny's like, it could be, And tonight she said the same. She was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like the clues match up. The voice, I could see that. He can dance like that too. It could be Donnie, So she kind of went along with Robin in that respect. I do think it's a boy band, or maybe. One of my friends already texted me while this was on, so even before I hear from you in the comments, she thought maybe this was Greg Louganis because of the comfortable in water kind of thing, and I do think Greg Louganis is gay. There was the rainbow streak in the sky. There's rainbows in like 3 of these clue packages though, so I mean they can't all be gay people. I mean they could be, but I think they would go for a little more variety. So I'm not positive that it's that, but. There were definitely a few clues that lead me to believe it's a boy bander just from the performance, not necessarily the clue package. But the singing and dancing, to me, screams Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys. Not Nick Lachey of 98 Degrees. I think it might be Nick Carter. And again, I'm basing that really just on the voice and the dancing. I don't know enough about him specifically. I know him and his brother Aaron had some legal troubles, but Backstreet Boys, I'm pretty sure, did do a Vegas residency, so that would sort of pinpoint the hotel clue. Other than that, I don't know. Happiest in water. I mean, I was pretty sure all of the Backstreet Boys came from the Florida area, just like NSYNC. But I don't know. I mean, I just have just based on the vocal, I think it might be Nick Carter. And, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to look this up. I'm not going to change my guess, but I'm going to look up where Nick Carter's born here. Yep, from Backstreet Boys, we know that. All right, where was he born, Wikipedia? Please tell me. Well, he's born in New York. All right, so that kind of rules him out, right? All right, well, I said I was going to stick with, well, he does have, does he have Italian descent? I don't know. All right, well, I'm probably wrong there, but from the voice, I think it's Nick Carter. I think I'm wrong already. But here we go. Let's get to the baby alien, shall we? All right, so in the preview, baby alien told us to look to the stars for a clue about him, and there was the number 5 written out in the stars. So This clue package gave us a Ferris Bueller type start. It was like a teacher, an alien teacher, saying, baby alien," like not Harold Ramis, Ben Stein does in the Ferris Bueller movies. He said he's been stuck in second gear for a while, which might be a friend's clue. He said there's going to be a rebirth, and for a while he was in the theater every week at his peak, and he was even on the Tony Awards stage. He became a second thought, though, and was lost in space. And then we saw a parade and a Ninja Turtle with sort of like karate get-up floating down with the parade. We saw a cracked Liberty Bell. And then in the interview portion, he decided to don a Russian accent for us, which was obviously put on to sort of throw us off a little bit. The song he did was Faith by George Michael, one of my favorites, and some very interesting guesses from the panel. So I think it was Jenny that thought it might be Ralph Macchio because of the karate theme. David Schwimmer and Matt LeBlanc were both brought up by Nicole Scherzinger because of the always stuck in second gear clue, which is part of the Friends theme song. And then, of course, that mentions Lost in Space as well, which leads you to think Matt LeBlanc. But she thought, because of the voice and just the demeanor, she was thinking more David Schwimmer. Okay. And then Ken's guess, which I liked the most out of all of them, he thought because this person did have a guest starring role in a famous episode of Friends where he did play with puppets. The baby alien, I should say, the interesting thing about the character on the Masked Singer is that the costume gives you no clue of how tall this person is, how fat or thin this person is, because it's literally just a baby sort of with, I assume a hand up it doing the voice, doing the motions for the mouth. So it could lead us anywhere, but because of the way the costume is, he was thinking Freddie Prinze Jr. because he famously played the nanny on Friends in that one episode. And then also there was like a steak a little bit in one of the pictures in the classroom scene, and of course like a vampire steak, not a steak you eat, but he's of course married to Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Sarah Michelle Gellar, so that could be a clue to that. I liked that clue the most, or that guess the most, I should say, from the panel. So I would say I'm sort of 50-50, but because I kind of want to go out on my own a little bit with this is, I think, by far a long shot. All of my guesses this week are long shots, I think. Freddie Prinze Jr. is not bad, but I think it might be a person that worked very closely with Muppets and does have a Tony Award connection because one of his good buddies hosted the Tony Awards several times, which may have led him to do a guest spot or something in a comedy bit. I think it might be Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother. He single-handedly revived the Muppets movie franchise, so he is very attuned to the whole sort of puppeteer thing. The whole thing with, I was in theaters every week could be a clue about somebody on Broadway. Ralph Macchio was Jenny's guess, partially because he replaced Matthew Broderick, aka Ferris Bueller, in a show on Broadway. So it could be something with Broadway. But Jason Segel had a string of hit movies for like 2 or 3 years, where really, everything did sort of fall into place there. And not only the Muppet thing, but in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, he is working on a puppet opera. So I don't know. And he's also very, very tall. So it would be helpful to sort of mask his height in that costume. So I don't know. I think it's out there, but that's my guess. So up next we have the seahorse. And the preview clue for her was she can always find, or it's always good to find a quiet place. They've thrown around a couple of quiet place clues. The panel hasn't picked up on them yet. They haven't guessed Emily Blunt yet, but we had a cowboy theme here at the OK Coral, because she's a seahorse, instead of OK Corral. She was having a tea party with 2 puppies, a dove, a rainbow stuffed lizard or frog. She said she was trapped by insecurities and shyness. And then we saw a hog, a horned hog with warts on its nose, a warthog. So Hogwarts, like Harry Potter, so it could be a Harry Potter clue there. Robin was right on that. She said she hopes that this will expose the dauntless diva in her. Emotion Ocean was the sign at the end of the clue package, and she said she's going to give you some new sides of herself. And the song she did was "Only Girl in the World" by Rihanna. So the panel guest, Halsey, that was Jenny McCarthy's guess. She called her Halsey. And of course, everyone corrected her. But it's not a bad guess. The voice doesn't match up. But it is somebody who can sing, and I think it is a contemporary singer. I think this is a current hit-making singer on the charts within the last few years. I think this is, and all the panel's guesses were in line with that. Robin thought it might be BB Rexa, which makes sense sort of with the country theme too, because she did that famous Florida Georgia Line song. But the guess I like the most from these is Haley Steinfeld. I believe it was Jenny. No, Jenny said Halsey. It might have been Nicole then that said Haley Steinfeld. But it makes sense with the cowboy theme because she was, of course, in True Grit. And we know that there's an Oscar. Is it an Oscar winner, maybe? Whoa, I don't know. I have the list of Grammy nominees. There's 46 Grammy nominations in this season's people, but we haven't heard yet maybe about an Oscar winner or nominee. But Nicole said there's an Oscar nominee in the bunch. So, but that could be Mickey Rourke too. I mean, obviously he was nominated for The Wrestler. So I think we can probably maybe rule out Haley Steinfeld because she isn't also an Oscar nominee, and maybe there's not two. But my other thought, and this is sort of out there, she's not a contemporary singer, but she's definitely got music in her blood. She is an actress, and I think there were some interesting clues leading to some young adult themed things in the clue package, specifically Harry Potter, of course. But I don't know. I think it might be Zoe Kravitz, who is, of course, the daughter of Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet. But obviously she's got, music in her blood. I'm not sure if we've heard her sing yet. But she was recently in the Hulu series High Fidelity, so she's obviously got, a lot of music in her veins there. I don't know. If there's only one Oscar nominee, it's clearly not Haley Steinfeld, because Mickey Rourke already... Well, of course, or is he an Oscar winner, not a nominee? Now I can't remember. Did he win for The Wrestler? Maybe he did. Okay, well... So I'm between the two. I'm between Haley Steinfeld and Zoe Kravitz. Because I do think it is a contemporary singer that has chart hits. I'm gonna go with the panel on this one and guess Haley Steinfeld as well. I think it could easily be Zoe Kravitz, but I don't know. There's the True Grit stuff, and I guess there could be more than one Oscar nominee or Oscar winner on the show. And with the True Grit clues, I'm going to guess Haley Steinfeld. And she seems the type of person to do something like this too, because she's always trying new things, trying to expand her horizon. So we'll see. Okay, we've only got two more. Whatchamacallit is next in the preview. He said that his career had a magical start, and we saw like some cards and stuff like aces. And then today in the package, he shot... It was like a candy-themed package. He shot up in a rainbow out of this field of cotton candy. We saw some Jell-O molds that he was bouncing around as well. He said, I let others absorb my spotlight. So we're thinking maybe somebody that is more of a second-tier person. And then he went on this rhyme scheme where he said he can be dancing with the stars, surfing candy bars, buzz with the bees, and swinging from the keys. And it was like a Tarzan thing, but instead of vines, they were keys. And then as we passed that, there was a Black Panther in the trees. So right away, Robin was like, oh, it's Michael B. Jordan. And then there was a clock. I'm all about the numbers if you watch the Masked Singer wrap-ups. And this clock was very interesting. So all the numbers were out of order. But the numbers that were there were a 2, 7, and 8 right in a row. Then there was a triangle, like a metal triangle, like a musician would play. Then a 4.0, a teddy bear head, a 61, a 12, a shrimp, a turntable, and a pair of khaki pants. So that's what was on the clock. And then whatchamacallit came out of the cuckoo afterwards. So the song was I Wish by Skee-Lo. And boy, I have no clue in the world on who this is. The panel guessed Swizz Beatz. That was Nicole's guess, partially because he is a DJ, so the turntable thing on the clock, but also he's married to Alicia Keys, and I am swinging from the keys, so there was that. Robin thought it could be Tyler the Creator, and then Ken thought it could be Damian Lillard, who is an NBA star for, I think, the Portland Trailblazers. If it's sports, I typically don't know them. I've never heard of this person, so for all I know, it could be him. I feel like this is one of those where it's like last year with Barry Zito, where it's like, I've never heard of this person, so sure, it could be. So I mean, gun to my head, I guess if I had to make a guess, I think Swizz Beats makes the most sense from what the panel said about the clues, but dude, I have no idea who Damian Lillard is, so if it's him, go for it. So I'm going to guess Swizz Beats, I guess, for now. The Serpent is last, and he is a man, and in the preview last, or 2 weeks ago, there was a prescription bottle, and it said 31118 on it, which I thought maybe was like March 11th, 2018. Something happened then. Maybe they had a baby or something. So tonight, the theme of the package was in a library. And there was a book called Dig Yourself Out of Debt. There was a map of the Caribbean. And then we see him in the library with two big neon signs. One said medicine and one said musicology. So those are the two books. And so, okay, maybe this is a person with interests in both of those. He said he's a troublemaker. He was on a path towards destruction, but his pops saved him. And then we see a hat that says Serpent Senior on the dad. So Nicole right away, and I had the same thought, was like, oh, so maybe he's a junior of sorts. And then the song he did was I'm Going to Be 500 Miles by the Proclaimers. But he did a very slowed down version of it, which I thought was very interesting. It's the type of change up that you expect from like American Idol or something, or The Voice. An actual singing competition, not a guessing game. I guess this is a singing competition too, because you want to do well and stay in there. But to just strip something down completely that's known as a pop upbeat number and make it slow was very interesting. So the panel was thinking, Jenny thought maybe John Legend. I didn't see that at all. The Voice didn't match up either. But Ken glommed on to a couple of Hamilton clues, and especially was thinking with the Dig Yourself Out of Debt, he was thinking it might be Daveed Diggs from Hamilton, and the map of the Caribbean would sort of go along with the Hamilton stuff as well. If you know the themes of that or whatever. So Nicole thought it could be somebody else from Hamilton, and that's exactly who I was thinking it was while he was singing. Leslie Odom Jr. Amazing voice, right? And so it would make sense that he would want to do something a little bit off the beaten path with the song. The Hamilton clues match up. She pointed out that he played a doctor in Murder on the Orient Express recently, and so that would be the medicine clue maybe that we saw in the clue package at the library, and then musicology, of course, because he's a Broadway star and a musician. So I think it's Leslie Odom Jr., and I'm actually pretty confident about that. This is the only one I'm really confident of in this whole night. But the 31118. Okay, so I just Google searched Leslie Odom Jr. 31118. Just to see what came up, because I was wondering, like, is it some sort of significant date to him? So the theory abuzz on the internet, and this is a little bit of a stretch, but look, they always kind of don't spoon feed us clues on this show. He's released 3 albums. He has done 11 Broadway and off-Broadway shows, and he has been doing Broadway shows for 18 years. So there's your 3, 11, 18. I don't know. It's a stretch, right? But it could match up with some of that. So that's all I've got. I mean, that's the only one I'm really confident on. So I would love to hear from you guys on your clues. I know I went a little bit off the beaten path with some of these. Jason Segel, it's probably not, right? But I really don't know. I mean, I was so much more confident last week. So please comment below. Let me know all of your thoughts. tell me how silly I'm being on some of these guesses, because you certainly weren't shy about that last week, and I think my guesses last week were way better. I have no whatchamacallit, dude. I know I'm way out of my league on that one. Swizz Beats, I have no clue. Maybe. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe, like I said, if you haven't already. I appreciate all the subscribes that I got in the last week and all the views on my Masked Singer Group A guesses. So stick with me every week. We're going to be doing these, and I'll try to get them up for you within a couple of hours of the show, so you can watch the show and just click right on and let me know your guesses for the show. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.